Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Lauren. Today we are talking about getting glutened and 14 tips to get gluten out of your system faster. I was diagnosed with celiac disease about 15 years ago, so I have definitely been glutened quite a bit along the way, and I have learned a lot of lessons of what really helps. If you have celiac disease or gluten sensitivity, chances are that you've heard of the term glutened, which is when you accidentally ingest gluten. The most common situation is that you just ate at a restaurant, you're driving home in the car, and all of a sudden your stomach starts feeling really bloated, your head feels a bit foggy, you start to think, did the waiter actually check if that was gluten-free or was it not? When a situation like that happens, and I'm pretty sure I've been glutened, I start right away with these different tips and tricks to make sure that I'm minimizing how long it's going to last, and I'm helping to really detox the gluten out of my body as quickly as possible. Today I'll share the symptoms of being glutened, how to avoid getting glutened, and my 14 best tips for getting gluten out of your system as quickly as possible. What are the most common symptoms of being glutened? This will really vary from person to person, but some of the most common ones that I've experienced are definitely abdominal pain and bloating. That is like the first symptom I usually get. Then typically I get a headache or some brain fog. Another common symptom is hives. Fatigue and joint pain are also really common, especially if you have celiac disease, because the gluten can cause a lot of inflammation. It can also affect your mood, so it can make you very irritable, and in more severe cases there can be vomiting, overall nausea. It really depends how much you consume, how sensitive you are. There have been situations for me where it's a bit more minor, where it was just cross-contamination and maybe I had the bloating and a little bit of hives and it didn't last too many days. And then there have been situations where I have been down for the count for like a full week. Keep in mind that when you've been exposed to gluten, symptoms can actually even take hours to develop. Especially if you have celiac disease, ingesting gluten can damage your small intestine. It can damage the lining of your small intestine and cause a ton of inflammation because it is an autoimmune disease. So it is important, even if you're not noticing bloating or a headache, to take steps to start detoxing it from your system right away. Let's talk a little bit about how to avoid getting glutened if you have celiac disease or a gluten sensitivity or allergy. It is so important to always check your food and also be your own advocate. There's two different areas here that I think about. I think about at home when you're cooking and you have full control over the kitchen and the ingredients. And then I think about when you're in situations where you're going out to eat, or maybe you're at a friend's birthday party, or you don't have control over the situation. For the first half of it, when you're at home in your kitchen, you're going grocery shopping, you're cooking yourself, always read ingredients. Even if you love a brand and you have found them to be safe, check it every time you buy. Just give it a quick glance to make sure that the ingredients are gluten-free. Ideally, they are certified gluten-free or have some sort of certifications on it as well. That is one side of the situation, is keeping your kitchen, your ingredients, keeping all of that safe and gluten-free. And then on the other side of the spectrum is where you really have to be your own advocate and you have to be prepared. I like to research restaurants in advance using a couple of different apps. I use Find Me Gluten Free. I also use Spoken. Susie, the founder, is amazing. She's so nice. I also like to use Yelp. I'll pull up the reviews and I start searching by keywords. So I'll type gluten and start to get a feel. Did they have options? When I go to a restaurant, for example, if I haven't been there before, I like to reach out and check and try to get in touch with the manager and see, are there gluten-free options? Is there going to be a lot of cross-contamination? Do they think they could make a meal safely for me? I also have other food allergies, so I really do have to reach out before if I want to make sure that I'm going to be safe and taken care of. I highly recommend reaching out. If you can over email, it's usually easier. You can usually call too, but try to call at a time when they're not super busy so that you can actually talk to someone. I also have an allergy card. This has probably been the best thing I've ever done for my food allergies. I'll link in the description box down below if you want to check out the allergy card that I use. It has allowed me to come from a place of taking myself really seriously with my allergies and showing restaurants that I am actually allergic. You don't want the restaurant to think it's just a preference and be using the same knife to cut the normal bread as the gluten-free bread. I have gotten compliments nearly every time that I pull out my allergy card. They're like, this is so helpful so that we can understand everything. Thank you. Even if you think something is gluten-free, always let them know you are allergic and ask, because you never know what might be in a sauce. There might be breadcrumbs, there might be little ingredients that have gluten. It is a little sneaky ingredient, let's be real. Usually when they're dropping my food off, I will just say, awesome, is this the gluten-free? And they'll say, let me check, or they'll say, yep, that's gluten-free. I like to just be as prepared as possible because I love food. I love food so much. So I always like to email in advance and feel things out so I don't get in a situation where I can't eat, but it does happen sometimes. Those are not the most fun situations, but at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it for me to be feeling sick for like a week? No, it's not. Now let's talk about the 14 natural ways to get gluten out of your system faster. Well, nothing can magically get gluten out of your system, unfortunately, maybe one day. There are many things that you can do to really flush it out faster and support your body while it's in that mode, especially if you have celiac disease of inflammation and autoimmune attack. It's a good idea to keep some of these remedies I'm going to talk about on hand with you just so that you have them, because I can't tell you how many times I've been in another country or state or place and I can't just go out and get them as easily as having them at home. Usually when you need something, you want it in your purse, in your backpack, just in case you need it. Also, if you have an EpiPen because you have anaphylactic reactions, always carry that. These are not substitutions for an EpiPen. Tip number one is the most simple, but also the most important. The most important thing that you can do is start flushing out your system with water. And I have a special tip for this. I like to do normal water, but on top of that, chlorophyll water. Chlorophyll you can get in liquid tinctures and you put some drops, and that really helps support the detoxification process. Typically, they also add peppermint oil in the liquid chlorophyll, so the mint can also help soothe your stomach too if you're not feeling well. Speaking of peppermint, my second tip is to drink peppermint tea. Peppermint is an amazing herb that can help alleviate different digestive symptoms while you've been glutened. Peppermint contains menthol, which can help relax your digestive tract muscles, and it can help soothe and improve overall digestion. I found peppermint tea helpful for symptoms like bloating and abdominal pain. Overall, peppermint tea is just really soothing and calming, so that's something I'm always craving whenever my stomach hurts and I've been exposed to gluten. My third tip is to take digestive enzymes. So these are supplements that can help break down gluten in your digestive system, and they have different ones. They have ones that can help if you're lactose intolerant. You want to look for ones specifically that can help with gluten, and they're a handy thing if you happen to be eating out at a restaurant or in a situation where you think it may be possible that there's a little bit of cross-contamination. It's almost like having a little bit of an insurance policy. However, I know what you're thinking, and I'm gonna tell you right now, they are not a magic pill. You cannot take a digestive enzyme and then go eat a bagel, unfortunately. But they can help if you have a little bit of cross-contamination. So I highly recommend just keeping them on hand in your purse, and they can help you a bit with the process of breaking down the gluten and digesting it. Tip number 4 is taking an Epsom salt bath. Epsom salt is an amazing ingredient to keep on hand because it can really support you with detoxification, and it helps reduce inflammation. You can simply add the Epsom salt to a warm bath and relax for like 20-30 minutes. I find it especially helpful if you are experiencing the joint pain or the fatigue or even a headache, because it allows you to have a really warming, comforting situation and de-stress a little bit. Tip number 5, if you were just glutened, I highly recommend eating a simple, light diet for at least a couple of days. Some people recommend actually fasting, but I personally find for me, just a light, simple diet is totally fine, and it really helps to take the load off of my digestive system and make sure that it can focus on repairing and detoxing instead. Personally, I like doing warm foods like steamed or sauteed foods, warm quinoa or warm brown rice, vegetables, soup, things that are very calming and won't cause additional inflammation. I also highly recommend a good bone broth if you like to drink that. I love an organic chicken and mushroom bone broth. I find that to be really helpful with the inflammation. Tip number 6 is something that I actually do every day, and that is drink lemon balm tea. Lemon balm is in the mint family. It has a soothing, calming effect on your nervous system and your digestive system. It's not very scientific, but it really feels like a warm hug when I drink it, and I find that it helps with my joint pain, inflammation, and overall autoimmune issues. It can especially help alleviate abdominal pain, bloating, if you're having anxiety from eating gluten, because that's a real thing too, is getting quite worried about food and having anxiety around that. It's a very calming tea, and it really helps you just level out and calm down. Tip number 7 is also something I do daily, and that is take a high quality probiotic. I have been doing this for 10 years, I would say, and there was a period of time where I stopped and I really noticed a difference. So I have been doing it every day since then, no matter what. If I am traveling, if I'm here, I always have a good probiotic on hand. I'll link the one that I take down below in the description box. You can get it at Whole Foods. After being glutened, your small intestine lining can get really inflamed and also start to disrupt your gut microbiome. Probiotics can help restore the beneficial bacteria that you want in your gut to support great gut health. Also, pretty cool that studies have found that when people were glutened and took probiotics, the probiotics actually helped to reduce the gastrointestinal symptoms that they experienced post being glutened. It is proven that it does work. You want to make sure that you're using a very high quality probiotic because the low quality ones will not reach your gut, which is what we want. Otherwise, in my opinion, it's just kind of a waste of money because it's not going to do what it's meant to. Number 8 is an OG tip. I remember doing this like 12 years ago, and that is taking activated charcoal. Activated charcoal is highly absorbent and it's really effective at binding to toxins in your system and helping to detoxify those. When you take an activated charcoal pill after being glutened, it can help bind to the gluten particles and help detox those out of your system. It is important to note that you shouldn't take activated charcoal for more than a week at a time. It's a good little thing to keep in your travel bag, your medicine cabinet, your purse, just in case you have some accidental exposure. Tip number 9 is to get plenty of rest. This is so important. Your body is basically having like a little war going on inside if you have celiac disease and you just had gluten. It is freaking out. Make sure that you take it easy so that you can focus on healing and repairing rather than just further stressing out your body. Tip number 10 is to add ginger to your diet. Ginger is something that is a great digestive aid and it's also very anti-inflammatory. If you're not a huge fan of ginger, you can do ginger tea that's a bit more mild. Overall, it can help support your digestion and reduce different symptoms like the bloating or nausea. I found it very helpful in that regard. Something I love to do too is cut off like half an inch of the ginger root, pop it in a smoothie, do some coconut water, mango, spinach. It's really tasty. Tip number 11 is to try a castor oil pack. Castor oil can be used as a natural home remedy, especially if you're experiencing abdominal pain. You'll need castor oil, you'll need a cloth and a plastic wrap. You'll want to soak the cloth in castor oil and warm it up and then apply it to your abdomen and cover it in plastic wrap and lie down for 30 to 60 minutes or so. I'll link a video down below of what a castor oil pack is if you want to check that out. Castor oil can help really support detoxification. It can stimulate blood flow and it can also reduce inflammation. So I think it's a good tool, especially if you're trying to rest and relax and maybe lie down or take a nap. You could also try out a castor oil pack or use like a heating pad. Tip number 12 is so important, and that is to avoid alcohol. In general, you really want to avoid anything that's inflammatory and is a toxin after you've been glutened. Alcohol can further irritate your intestinal lining, which makes it really difficult for the body to heal and recover. Give your body a chance to rest and repair and get a break. You don't want to add fuel to the fire. Keep in mind that some alcoholic beverages do contain gluten or can have cross-contamination too, so it's a good idea just to stay away from it while you're recovering. Tip number 13 is to try some light exercise, the key word being light here. We're not going to go out and run a marathon because we're still trying to rest, recover, support our body. Gentle exercises like yoga or a chill Pilates class, walking is really great. Those can all promote circulation, reduce inflammation, and support your digestion. So I would highly recommend that. At the bare minimum, just taking a 20-minute walk or so, that could really help. Light exercise is also a great mood booster and can really help if you're feeling a bit anxious or down after you've been glutened. Always remember to stay very hydrated and keep it to low impact exercises. Going back to tip 1, we want to make sure we're drinking a lot of water. Tip number 14 is one of my personal favorite tips after being glutened, and that is to use an infrared sauna. I love the sauna. I think it's a really cool tool to leverage for detoxification after you've been glutened. Depending where you live, you might be able to go to a store that has a sauna, or you can always get one yourself if you feel like it's something you would use. I use mine like 2 or 3 times a week. And especially if I have been glutened, I'm using it daily, which is just a nice tool to have. Infrared saunas promote detoxification and help to reduce inflammation in the body. You're obviously sweating like crazy when you're in an infrared sauna. Mine is like 150 or 160 degrees. And sweating is obviously a natural way to remove toxins from the body. You want to make sure that you're staying really hydrated if you're doing the sauna. I will link the sauna that I have down below. It's not one of those big wood ones because I wanted one that we could fold up, and we just don't have space for a big one like that. I find it to be really relaxing and I feel very energized after. I feel like it helps with anxiety and fatigue. Always ask your doctor before doing any of these things, especially using a sauna, as it is not recommended for people with certain medical conditions or pregnant women. Getting glutened can be really frustrating and makes you just feel so bummed out because it can be a long-lasting effect. And honestly, anytime it happens to me, I'm like, I really wish I could have just like eaten a bagel or some French toast or something I really wanted instead of accidentally getting gluten. Keep in mind that you shouldn't be too hard on yourself because no matter what, no matter how careful you are, it's bound to happen every once in a while, especially if you are living your life, traveling, going out to restaurants. It's just unfortunately unavoidable sometimes, but we want to do everything that we can if you have celiac disease or gluten sensitivity to make sure that you are avoiding gluten, you're communicating things, you're preparing and planning so that you can put your health in the best possible situation. But if it does happen, you are prepared. If you do get glutened, have a plan ready with some of these natural remedies to make sure that you know exactly what to do. Keep things in your purse, have a little kit. I like to have my teas with me, my digestive enzymes, the activated charcoal. Those things are all really easy just to keep with you so that if you know you've been glutened, you can act right away and hopefully minimize or prevent the symptoms. I hope these tips are helpful, and if you have accidentally ingested gluten, I'm sorry, I know it stinks, but just start testing things out and see what works best for you. These are all the tips that worked best for me. I can't speak on anyone else's behalf, but they have been really great tools in my toolkit. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you've tried any of these tips or if you have any tips yourself for how to feel better when you've been glutened and how to get gluten out of your system faster. If you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and you can get notified for all the new videos from my channel. Let me know what type of video you want to see next. I hope you're having an amazing day, and if you are glutened, I hope you feel better. I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.